A few days after you were.
Thanks, Mary. Wonderful. Well, welcome everyone to the Minnesota Public Health Association Annual Business Meeting and Award Ceremony. I'm Nancy Frank Wilson. I think as of about 5 o'clock today, I am the president of the Minnesota Public Health Association. So today we'll do our annual business meeting until about 5 o'clock, and then we'll have our award ceremony. So just to go through what we're going to be doing today, first housekeeping. The meeting is being recorded. We ask that you keep yourself muted. And if you have any comments or you want to ask questions or anything, please use the chat box. And I think we're all familiar with Zoom. If not, if you just move your cursor to the bottom of your screen, you'll see the chat box. And it's usually in the middle of the bottom of your screen. So we'll go through our Governing Council Board, financial summary, just some highlights of, brief highlights of what our busy committees have been doing, and then save the dates and some events that you might want to put on your calendar. So for our departing board members, we want to thank them, especially our past president, Matt Flory. And welcome, especially Liz Moe, our president-elect. And here's a list of our governing council members for 20 and 21. And our committee chairs. Thank you. So here's a financial summary. As of the end of business yesterday, we had $94,256. I think something that I'm really proud of, the hard work that our executive director and so many of the committee members and Matt have worked on were over $20,000 of sponsorships and grants, and those individual donors of almost 2,200. And that's greatly appreciated. Well, let's look a little bit at committees, starting with communications. The communications committee really has increased and done a great job of keeping everyone up to date on social media. We were actually given a grant for National Public Health Week in order to publicize National Public Health Week through our social media. We worked on an extension letter of the extending the stay-at-home order, and it was really great to see it printed in some papers. Just some highlights. We want to thank John Oswald. He's our outgoing leader of the Global Health Committee, and we're looking for a co-chair. So if anyone would want to get more involved, you can contact Mary or Donna DeGracia, but we'd love to have you join us. And right now, the Global Health Committee has been working in tandem with our Health Equity Committee on their shared priorities, and that's been a great partnership. The Health Equity Committee created an ancestral lands. Oh, are you gonna? Oh, good. Thank you, Mary. You're gonna. Oh, I thought maybe we could see the an ancestral land statement, and it was featured in The Nation's Health, the MPHA publication, and there's a lot of interest in that statement, and so the committee's been working with former APHA President Michael Bird, to help other state coalitions or associations have similar language. The Health Equity Committee authored a statement released by the Minnesota Public Health Association on the horrific death of Mr. George Floyd. Has developed a really fantastic webpage for sharing public health racism resources. Our esteemed colleague, Donna Anderson, leads our history committee, and they've continued work on promoting the MPHA records collection housed at the Social Welfare History Archives Library at the University of Minnesota. And they're getting ready to apply for a Minnesota Historical Society Heritage and Legacy Grant. And our leadership committee, who we'll be hearing from soon, they're responsible for identifying future leaders of our organization, developing a candidate of slates for officer elections, and providing ongoing support in terms of making sure our governing council and our organization is healthy with people. And like I said, we'll be hearing from them soon. Our policy committee identified the policy priorities for 2020, and we have a slide so you can see those. The policy committee does, like all of our committees, but especially the policy committee does a great job of partnering with other coalitions, Minnesotans for Healthy Kids, Minnesotans for a Smoke-Free Generation, Health Professionals for a Healthy Climate. They also do a fantastic job of working with communications to send out action alerts and advocate for a lot of issues. And here's a list of the legislative priorities. I'll just give you a minute to look at them. I think it's a really impressive list. And our membership committee, which always makes me smile, they've continued to host their MPHA. And if you haven't been to one, when we are allowed to be together or when there's a social distancing appropriate MPHA, I highly recommend them. Topics included celebrating public health and a 2-part series on public health in the community. Our MPHA was featured in Nation's Health and on a poster on MPHA member engagement at the APHA annual meeting and expo. And it's been wonderful. I actually got to be involved in we served food at the Ronald McDonald House. And it was I have to say, it was one of the best days of my year. It just was great. Mississippi River cleanup, new student engagement fair. So really awesome. I love this. The membership committee created the first membership map displaying the numbers of members across Minnesota by county and zip code, which is very important anyway, but especially for a statewide organization. I think it really helps the governing council see where our members are and maybe where we need to do a little bit more recruitment and focus some more energy. They created a student member Facebook page and partnering with the Health Equity Committee to create the Emerging Leaders Cohort. Pretty cool. And our policy forums, and we have a great policy forum committee, and unfortunately with COVID-19, we did miss 2 of them, but we'll be hosting them again in the fall or as soon as we're able to. But this year's topic was environmental health. Is there justice for all? And the 4 topics were food we eat, air we breathe, the water we use, and the places we live. Just an outstanding forum series. And I'm really looking forward to the water we use and the places we live. And in addition to creating these amazing forums, we actually host them Facebook Live. So they're live streamed, which again, as for a statewide organization, with live streaming the event, people aren't missing it because they don't live in the Twin Cities, which is very important to us. And our annual conference planning committee has been hard at work. Mary, if there's anything you want to add about this, I know you and Kathy and Arlene have been sharing this. Is there anything you want to add about it? No. Sorry.
Thank you. I don't have anything to add to the annual conference committee update, but stay tuned for soon. We are working on it.
Great. One thing that they did, obviously there's a lot of challenges with COVID-19 and not able to hold our conference in person as we'd like to. So the annual conference planning committee did a great survey and got really excellent feedback on what members want to see in terms of a conference in 2020. So stay tuned. Here's just some things to look forward to. Our strategic plan is available now on our website. July 24th is a virtual coffee break for new and longtime members. August 17th, we have a special member event with Dr. Michael Osterholm. And we believe that in September, our annual conference will begin. And then November 6th, our policy forum series will begin. So I believe I've gone a little fast, which for me never happens. I'm usually talking much more than I'm supposed to. Those of you that know me know that.
Nancy, I have to apologize. When we were doing the agenda, one thing that we always start our MPHA meetings with is actually reading the full MPHA acknowledgement of ancestral lands. And so I'd like to just share my screen again.
Thank you.
If you wouldn't mind reading that. And then
thank you so much. We were talking about it, and we've been talking about it a lot because it's really special. So let me just take a little.
So this is on our website for all of you. If you haven't seen it before, if you go to mpha.net, you can search for it, or it's just under the About section.
And we have decided, as Mary said, to start all of our meetings with this. We ask that you take a moment to honor and acknowledge that we are on ancestral homelands of the Dakota and Anishinaabe. Indigenous people have a long-standing history and connection to the land since time immemorial, and are the original stewards of lands and waters. Many American Indians were forcibly exiled from their lands because of aggressive and persistent settler colonization and US governmental policies, but they persevered. We make this acknowledgement to honor the Dakota and Anishinaabe people, ancestors and descendants, as well as the land itself. It's hard to get through sometimes. I just couldn't be happier and more grateful to our Health Equity Committee and everyone that worked on it. Thanks for reminding us of that, Mary. So I'd like to hand it over to our leadership committee. I know we're a little bit early. Can you make it work? Or I could sing, I could.
This is Cheryl Lee, and I think we wanted to, one of the honorees is Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, and she was supposed to be coming on right around 5.
Okay.
So I don't want to take up time, but maybe this is the time that people could ask questions or,
Great.
whatever. But also this past, I think it was this past year that Mary, you became officially the part-time executive director for Minnesota Public Health Association. So folks that haven't been attending some of the, like the governing council meetings, et cetera, may have not known this. So Mary, why don't you just also say a couple of words?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. And I apologize for not introducing myself at the beginning, but I am Mary Grand. I've been a MPHA member since my husband and I moved back to Minnesota about 8 or 9 years ago. And I did my Master's of Public Health at UMass Amherst and was excited to join MPHA. So I was part of the membership committee for a while, and then became the part-time program manager for MPHA, and appreciated the transitioning of that role to an executive director position. So I always tell everyone MPHA is just a fantastic organization. It truly is volunteer driven. I cannot thank Nancy for her hours spent on the presidency position over the last year, our governing council, all of our members who've attended events or referred MPHA to people they think might be interested, all of our non-members who come and check us out, whether it's at an MPHA event or a policy forum, early Friday morning breakfast series meeting. It's just a fantastic community, and I'm very grateful to be a part of it with everybody.
Well, thank you, Mary. I don't know what we'd do without you. I know it is membership driven, but you really play a key role, and we couldn't be happier and more grateful. So thank you for everything. And we've, you've really been put to the test. Last year at our conference, we had a snowstorm in April. This year we have COVID-19. So if you ever feel like you're bored, it's never gonna happen. Just, we're hoping 2021, you'll just be so bored especially with conferences. So, but yeah, there's been a few hiccups and challenges, but you're great. And I love you're always positive. So that goes a long way.
Amen. That's all I can say. Thank you, Mary, for taking on that position. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you, Carol. Well,
I've got the glue that holds us all together.
Yes.
Thank you. I do want to say we've got a couple more minutes until we have to start our awards ceremony. So if anyone has questions, now that I'm not sharing my screen, I am monitoring the chat box, and just wanted to call out that if anyone is looking for ways of how to get engaged with MPHA, any of our committees are open to new members. You can go to a committee meeting, check it out, see if you like the type of work that the committee is working on, talk to the co-chairs, do some networking, gain some different public health skills that you might not get in your day job. And just a strong plug for joining a committee, or more than one. We've got a few superstars that are spreading their talents across committees. So
this is Angie Carlson, and I would just like to highlight the chat message that came from Ed Ellinger about voting and ensuring voting and the safety of voting this fall. And I'd also like to call out attention that we actually are in a shortage of poll workers here in the state. It's actually a fairly serious problem. And so MPHA folks that would be willing to contact the state of Minnesota and participate as poll workers would be a wonderful thing. And I think part of one of the first things, Ed, that would be, what are we doing as MPHA to help ensure that voting this fall is a good, solid election?
Well,
So
thank you
this
for
is
bringing that
Erica,
up. Yeah.
and we have been in contact with the governor's office this past weekend. We'll continue some conversations about a statute that requires state agency and contractors to register, to offer voter registration. It was something that I remembered from when I first started at MDH years ago, and then it kind of went by the wayside. So they are looking at that and how that might be implemented in sort of 3 different ways. One is getting state employees to register to vote. And the second one is for state agencies that deal directly with clients to figure out how to register them. And then the third way would be contractors that work with people that they could register. So I think that's promising that they're looking at that for getting the vote out. Conversations, as Angie said, about the safety is another issue. And they also did reiterate that they're looking for people to work at the polls too, like Angie said too, which is really important.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up, because that's something we can share on social media. We have a really wide reach on social media, and obviously our newsletter. And I think the safe voting issue is one we could start with at Governing Council.
I wrote a blog that I put on about voting as a public health issue on the ASTO website, and it gives links to how public health officials at the state and local level can be connected. And there are a lot of state-specific resources for voting. So if you want to go to the ASTO website and find that blog, it gives you some data on how to move ahead with connecting with the community organizations that are really trying to get people registered and looking at alternative ways of voting and making sure that it's safe during COVID time.
Thank you so much. We'll pull that blog. It would be great for us to share that as well.
Hi, this is Candace Dow. I'm a head election judge in the city of Minneapolis, and there are many efforts to get people to vote absentee. So that's something that we can try getting the word out, that people who are concerned about voting in person can vote absentee. And if you want to be an election judge, contact your city or county.
May I ask a question about the election judges? Are there limitations in terms of people's age, because a certain age falls within a certain kind of, what are you calling it?
A risk?
Yes.
No, not for the city of Minneapolis. We have some election judges who've been in their 80s and 90s.
Right, but I'm thinking more about because of COVID.
Right, but people can self-select if they want to be an election judge.
Okay.
I exceed minimum requirements for being in the older category.
And young people too.
Yes.
Honey.
Oh, and there are even people who are high school students who do it. We had really good high school judges.
Nice.
I am also an election judge and was proud to serve with some civics students. It was a really great experience.
And I think I've been doing it. I think I started almost 40 years ago doing it. So.
Wow. And
I'm back.
Yeah, thanks to Ray for sharing Ed's blog, the link to it in our comments, and we'll get it out.
It's not the blog, but it's the ASHTO resources on safe voting, which would be a good shared across states. I've got 28 years as an election judge as well.
Wow.
All right.
Okay.
Shirley.
Okay, so my name is Shirley Sherry, and I co-chair the leadership committee with Ann Zakowski, and we're both very happy to be here today to present to you the MPHA 2020 Public Health Leadership Awards. This is such an important part of MPHA, honoring those who have contributed so much to our field. Each year, the leadership committee, co-chaired again by myself and Ann, send a call out to our membership to nominate leaders in our field to be recognized. Nominations are then reviewed by the committee and a slate is presented to the MPHA Governing Council for approval. And this year, we are very pleased to present 5 awards, and it's to 8 people because there's a group for one of the awards. And I'm going to get started. So our first award is for the B. Robert Lewis Award. This award is presented to an elected official who has distinguished themselves in aggressive pursuit to establish and maintain health as a human right and to secure optimal community and personal health. It is named for B. Robert Lewis, who served in the Minnesota Senate from 1973 until his untimely death in April of 1979. Senator Lewis was a good friend of public health. He carried many significant pieces of legislation, particularly in the areas of health and social change. Now what I'm going to do is ask Jaime Martinez, who is co-chair for the MPHA Health Equity Committee, to make this award. So Jaime, it's all yours.
Thank you, and I'm very honored to do this today. So extraordinary times call for extraordinary leadership, and thus I am very pleased to present Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan with the B. Robert Lewis Award. Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan is a longtime advocate for Minnesota. She has distinguished herself in championing and pursuing health equity for children, families, communities of color, American Indians, LGBTQ people, and low-income working people in Minnesota. She is the 50th Lieutenant Governor of Minnesota. Her election on November 6, 2018 made her the first racial minority woman elected to statewide office in Minnesota and second Native American woman to have ever been elected to statewide executive office in U.S. history. She previously served as a member of the Minnesota House of Representatives and is a member of the White Earth Band of Ojibwe. During the 2017 legislative session, she joined with other legislators to form the People of Color and Indigenous Caucus. The caucus aims to improve the education, health, and economic opportunities of people of color and indigenous communities across the state. During the 2019 legislative session, the governor and lieutenant governor helped lead the work to protect the provider tax and provide access to health care for millions of Minnesotans, and assisted in establishing the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women Task Force related to issues of violence against Indigenous women and girls. Similar to MPHA, Lieutenant Governor Flanagan believes that the future of our state depends on people being engaged in their government. The Minnesota Public Health Association is pleased to recognize Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan's commitment for improving the health of the public with this award. And now I turn it over to Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm really honored and humbled to accept this award. Thank you so much. It was dropped off in my office, and so I got to have it in person here, and I'm just feel really really tremendously honored and humbled. And Jaime, receiving this award from you with that introduction means a tremendous amount. I would say receiving this award from you and cricket, that is what, you look like your bird right now, is a tremendous honor, just from someone who's been doing this work in the trenches for a very long time. It also is wonderful to be able to receive an award that has been named after a St. Louis Park resident. I am proud St. Louis Park resident. Welcome to my kitchen in St. Louis Park. And the legacy of B. Robert Lewis is seen and evident all over our community, even just kitty corner from my house with Oak Knoll Animal Hospital that is right there in our neighborhood. So just thank you. And it's in moments like this too, when we think about the first, and with the first African-American Minnesotan elected to the Minnesota Senate, that is something that I can also relate to. The role of that, I think, is not lost on me. So 6 months ago, I certainly didn't think that I could have imagined that I would be delivering these remarks to you over Zoom, and we'd be doing this virtually. But things have changed tremendously. The pandemic of COVID-19, as well as the murder of George Floyd, have challenged us, all of us, tremendously. And what these events have done has really been to lay bare the inequities that we know, and certainly everyone who's part of this conversation knows have existed for a very long time. But now, more than ever, we are confronted with those inequities between white Minnesotans, people of color, and Indigenous folks. And public health has never been so front of mind, and the work that you do every day for everyone on this call has never been more important. And while Minnesota works really well and ranks among the healthiest states in the nation, a closer look reveals the deep-rooted disparities between white communities, Black and Indigenous communities, and communities of color. Black Minnesotans, as many of you know, are testing positive for COVID-19 at a rate that is 10 times higher than white people in Minnesota. And the Latinx community is testing nearly 15 times the rate of the white community. Communities of color have higher underlying health conditions like asthma, high blood pressure, diabetes, that put many of us, and I include myself in that group, at higher risk for the complications related to COVID-19. And we know that people of color are also the folks who are often more likely to be labeled as essential workers. But we know that we have always been essential workers. But that means that many of us are putting our lives on the line and increasing our chances of exposure to COVID-19. The disparities are not random. They are not unique to COVID-19. They are rooted in deep discriminatory policies and practices along the lines of race in housing, in employment, environmental protection, criminal justice, and in public health. And frankly, as we are now taking a step back and looking at the founding of the state of Minnesota, they are deep within our roots of the state that has been created as well. So the work ahead of us as people who are deeply invested in public health is recognizing that our health is connected to the health of our neighbors, dismantling systems that value the health of some over the health of all, and recommitting to this work daily. And this award is a reminder of that need to recommit to this work every single day. Again, I'm really honored and humbled to be recognized, and I stand on the shoulders of the folks who came before me, and I stand in solidarity with those who are doing the work right now. I congratulate my fellow Minnesotans who are also receiving the additional awards here today, many of whom are engaged in health equity and issues directly impacting our underserved communities. And I want to give a special little shout out to the work and lift up the work of Native leaders like Coco Villaluz at Clearway, who through her determination and just deep commitment to her people has made, you can see the policy change and just look at the timeline of her work. And I know that she will be receiving an award that is named after the legacy of my hero, Senator Paul Wellstone, and today just happens to be his birthday. And so it couldn't come at a better time, and I don't know anyone who is more deserving and who has certainly changed my life as well with her commitment to keeping tobacco sacred and to keeping our people healthy. And to Dr. Helen Godin of the Department of Health, the organizers of the MPHA Policy Forum, and Winnie Lindstrom, you are all just incredible folks. And I am just really honored and humbled to be part of this award ceremony with all of you. And I just have to say, Ed Ellinger, seeing your face and just knowing that you were doing all this work before it was cool, I think is just a recognition of the fact that as we find ourselves in this moment, public health has never been more important, but we also are seeing the tremendous gaps and lack of investment in public health as well. And so I am here to say thank you, but also to just ensure that you all know that we know that the work of MPHA and public health folks across the state and across the country, the Center for Health Equity, that you all are doing the work that needs to be honored and invested in, and for leading with questions about how all of these systems and their disparities intersect and interact with health equity. It is critical work, and we have not reached the end of that trail that Dr. Lewis and many others before us started, and our work is certainly not done. But I am incredibly grateful to be able to do this work with all of you. And again, just thank you so much, Chimigwech, for this honor and for the reminder of our community, where I come from, as well as creating the path to see where we're going together. And that's the doorbell at my house. And the buzzer, apparently. I'm done. Okay. Thank you so much, everybody.
Oh, thank you so much, Lieutenant Governor. Just appreciate your words. I think we're going to have you help us along with, we're going to sign you up for the leadership committee to participate with the awards. Your comments were so gracious. So thank you, and thank you for your commitment to public health. So, okay, next we have the award is the Paul and Sheila Wellstone Public Health Achievement Award. This award is presented to a person who has distinguished themselves in public health through an outstanding contribution, which exemplifies MPHA's mission to promote and protect the health of individuals, families, and the community. Additionally, the nominee has displayed either leadership as demonstrated by the impact of their effort on the careers and accomplishments of other public health professionals, or has made a contribution that reflects innovation, creativity, or a courageous pioneering effort consistent with professional excellence and public service. And Jaime, you're back on. So Jaime Martinez, who again co-chairs the MPHA Health Equity Committee, to make this award.
Thank you, Shirley, and I want to thank Lieutenant Governor Flanagan for helping out and starting Coco's presentation today. So today I am just so pleased to present Coco Villaluz with the Paula and Sheila Wellstone Public Health Achievement Award. Coco is currently the Associate Director of Health Equity Programs at Clearway, Minnesota, and is an enrolled member of the Hidatsa tribe from the 3 affiliated tribes with heritage from the Assiniboine tribe and Chamorro people. Her personal mission is to promote the indigenous cultural wellness of communities now and for generations to come. Mindful of the teachings of her elders, Coco incorporates culturally based strategies for addressing health disparities in all of her prevention work activities. Coco has also built collaborations between Clearway, Minnesota and other funders such as the Minnesota Department of Health and Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Minnesota to maximize training and technical assistance dedicated to commercial tobacco grant initiatives in Indian country. And I should mention that Coco has worked extensively with Peggy Flanagan when she was a trainer for the Wellstone Action Project. As a result, tribal advocates, whether funded by Clearway, Minnesota or other funders, all receive and have received extensive mentorship and leadership training to move towards healthy and vibrant communities. Coco has also worked cross-culturally as a key mentor, trainer, and motivator for a previously funded Clearway Minnesota initiative, the Leadership and Advocacy Institute to advance Minnesota's parity for priority populations. She has worked tirelessly to champion community-led programs, practice-based evidence, created linkages where none existed, and has been instrumental in spreading the important message of restoring traditional tobacco as a way to address commercial tobacco use in Native communities. The Minnesota Public Health Association is so pleased to recognize Coco's commitment for improving the health of the public with this award. So Coco, yeah, I now turn it over to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jaime. I'm just going to start traditional welcome. It is such an honor to be here and to receive this award on Senator Paul Wellstone's birthday. I am so honored to be a part of this award group, and I really am excited and thinking back to 2008 and 2009 when I was sitting at a table with Lieutenant Governor Flanagan and Jaime talking about these issues in Indian country and talking about the uniqueness of tobacco as it exists, but really getting back to our cultural restoration and reclamation of our ways. So it really feels full circle being here today with you all in this really awakening of times with everything that's happening with COVID and the things around the world. I really feel like this is an awakening, and my whole goal in life has been to do our ancestors' work and to make them proud and to live a good life that our ancestors fought so hard to get to be, and to be sitting here even through technology, which is pretty cool, right? Like, we're not able to be in person, which I would have loved to have been in the circle with you all, sharing a good meal and conversations. Being able to be in this space to still highlight the importance of the work. And it was through all of the community, tribal communities. Jaime, I cannot emphasize enough his leadership. I just, acknowledge him for his mentorship. And Lieutenant Governor Flanagan, as part of our trainers, we just had a board meeting at Clearway the other day, and I found some really good photos and, sharing some of the highlights with all of our community partners. And it's really because of all of our communities, people who are, on the ground working in the tribal casinos or in coalitions, with their tribal governments. We are all doing this in partnership with each other through the programs like Jaime was mentioning, the Minnesota Department of Health, Blue Cross Blue Shield. We all work in collaboration, and my main focus has always been tobacco, commercial tobacco, traditional tobacco, but that sacred tobacco has connected us. It's what brought me together to you all today, and is a legacy that I'm working really hard to continue, so our young people will know the difference and that we're not suffering from all the the harms and disparities. I want us to be like the #1 in, the healthiest nation. And I know that all of us on this call today are working towards that. And I just appreciate the work that the Minnesota Public Health Association has been doing. Every time I get the emails or even texts about what's been going on, talking about the ancestral legacy, it's because of the leadership that you all have been doing, that we're seeing so many changes. And I'm just really excited and happy to be a part of this. And I'm calling in from Northeast Montana, but I really feel like I'm still in Minnesota because that's where I work, and my heart is, and I'm just wanting to make you all proud and continue this work, and whatever I can do to help, and join committees. I've been seeing the chat boxes going. I want to help in any shape or form, but I just I got this in the mail like an hour ago, and so I'm so excited. Thank you guys. Montana, when we get mail, sometimes it takes a scenic route, so we're not sure when it gets here, but I am so honored to be a part of this amazing group. Those who have come before me, like Lieutenant Governor Flanagan had said, and just really doing the work so we can continue being in the best way. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I hope you all have a wonderful day, stay healthy, and I look forward to when we're all able to be together in person soon. Thank you.
Yay, clapping. Thank you, Coco. And I'm so glad it found its way to your house. So I'm happy about that. So, and again, thank you so much for all of your work. Let's see here. So next, the next award is for the Harvey G. Rogers Environmental Health Award. This award honors an individual who through years of dedication, distinguished service, and technical contribution has promoted the public's health through preservation of the environment. I will now ask Jim Kelly. I think I saw Jim's name up. He's here. Jim is the manager for environmental surveillance and assessment section at the Minnesota Department of Health. So Jim, if you could make this next award.
Thank you, Shirley. I'm pleased to be here today to award Dr. Helen Gaydon the Harvey G. Rogers Environmental Health Leadership Award. Dr. Gaydon is a senior toxicologist at the Minnesota Department of Health. For over 27 years, she has exemplified dedication to public health in her work as a toxicologist, first at the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency and then the Minnesota Department of Health. Dr. Gaydon has advanced the field of toxicology and risk assessment, most notably related to the protection of infants and children from drinking water contaminants. Her leadership in developing health-based guidance values and policies has led to reduced exposures to environmental contaminants for countless Minnesotans. Dr. Gaydon has become a national expert on the toxicity of perfluoroalkyl or PFAS compounds and revised and improved MDH's drinking water guidance values as the scientific understanding of these chemicals has evolved over time. PFAS chemicals are unique and have been found to accumulate in human blood and to be present in breast milk, which means that women exposed to these chemicals could pass them on to the developing fetus and infants. Just last year, Dr. Gaydon created a novel way to model the accumulation of PFAS in the mothers and babies and to make recommendations on safe levels of exposure to these chemicals in drinking water. Dr. Gaydon's model was published and recognized for its importance by other toxicologists in this field. And the model is not only critical for the development of Minnesota's drinking water guidance, it is now becoming a critical component of other states' water guidance as well. Dr. Gaydon's innovation and achievements in toxicology, risk assessment, and overall protection of public health distinguishes her as a deserving candidate for this award. Her leadership and service has made her a valuable contributor to public health improvements throughout her career. The Minnesota Public Health Association and me in particular are pleased to recognize Dr. Helen Gaydon's commitment for improving the health of the public with this award. Well, Helen, if you're on and you would like to say a few words.
Yes, can you hear me? Okay, great. Well, thank you, Jim, for that introduction. I cannot imagine a higher honor than being nominated actually by my fellow coworkers. It's funny because when I first started for the state of Minnesota, I was told that Minnesota likes to be a close second, but we don't like to be first. But I have found that that actually is not true. We are certainly not afraid of being first and pushing for new and improved things. So as I look back on my career, roughly about 35 years, when I received my degree, I'm struck by how much has changed. When I first received my degree, research was really focused on identifying, what level of exposure causes illness, but we really didn't have very good tools to determine that underlying cause, what really was the source of that illness. And our experimental studies were actually, believe it or not, limited by how much data one individual could analyze. And our focus almost was exclusively on industrial pollution. And risk assessment was just emerging as a new field of science. In my last year of graduate school, we were suddenly required to take a course on risk assessment because it was just coming to the forefront. And now we have much better tools to understand those underlying causes of even much more subtle health effects. And we can evaluate enormous data sets. And risk assessment has become one of the founding foundations of risk management decisions in public health and environmental health. And I think we have a better understanding of how closely intertwined human health and environmental health are. And we also, I think, have a better understanding about how our individual and collective behavior and choices have impact. So looking back at my time actually with the state of Minnesota, there are 4 efforts in particular that I feel really fortunate to have been involved in, and Jim mentioned several of them. And these were challenging projects, and they provided an opportunity to learn, to problem solve, and to advance public health. And the first one was a risk-based process for evaluating contaminated sites. This allowed us to streamline so we could do it much more quickly and identify problem areas and prioritize the sites. And that process is, for the most part, still used today, which is 25 years later, which is a little frightening when I counted up the years of how long ago we did that process. The second is that major revision to health risk limits for water, and that we are explicitly considering the most vulnerable population, which are frequently infants. The third is actually a creation of a drinking water contaminants of emerging concern initiative, which was made possible by the constitutional amendment. And the last but not least is the perfluorinated compounds, which my husband has referred to as our 4th child, because I've been so heavily involved in that topic. And each of those efforts involved venturing into new and unknown territory, and they all shared 3 characteristics. And those 3 characteristics are really part of why I love my job. The first is collaboration. All of those projects involved collaboration, not just between scientists and practitioners, but with policymakers and the greater community as well. The second is innovation. We used our collective past experience and knowledge to come up with new ways or new and improved ways of addressing those thorny issues that we were grappling with. And then the last is transparency. Even as the work was in progress, we needed to be transparent and open about what we were doing, why we were doing it, and how we were doing it. And we often did not have all the answers, so there was certainly uncertainty. But we all had a common goal of protecting public health, even when those answers were sometimes elusive. And it's very challenging to communicate evolving science, because as things evolve, your understanding changes and your story changes. And as a scientist, I learned that mutual trust and respect were as important as scientific knowledge. And that all 3 of them were essential to be making advances. And as others have mentioned, we are certainly in unprecedented and challenging times, particularly for public health, more so for some individuals than others. And my hope certainly is that we can collectively create a new and a better normal for everyone. So thank you again. I'm really honored, and especially with the incredible track record that people have in Minnesota. So thank you again.
Thank you so much, Helen. I really liked how you called out collaboration, innovation, and transparency. I think I might have to use that down the line. So thank you again. Okay, next, our next award is for the Albert Justus Chesley Award, which was established in 1960 to honor those members of MPHA who have distinguished themselves in the field of public health and who have, through their membership, made a definite contribution to the Minnesota Public Health Association. It is named for A.J. Chesley. He was a physician who served 54 years with the Minnesota Department of Health, 34 years as the Secretary of the Minnesota State Board of Health, and Executive Officer of the Minnesota Department of Health. So next, I'm going to ask Kathleen Norleen, who at the end of this meeting will be officially the president of MPHA, and whose day job is an environmental research scientist at the Minnesota Department of Health. So take it away.
Okay. Today I'm delighted to award the MPHA Policy Forum Planning Team with the Albert Justus Chesley Award. This team is comprised of Dr. Angie Carlson, Lindsay Fabian, MPH, Jean Streeter, MS Chez, and Leah Berg, MS Chez. For the past 9 years, the MPHA Policy Forum Series team members have tirelessly organized and promoted the Policy Forum. As a result of this team's consistent, high-quality work, the forums have grown and flourished. These quarterly forums continue to build excitement around public health topics and increase the visibility of MPHA. The forums provide thought-provoking topics around relevant public health issues that help motivate public health professionals to network and collaborate. The effects go beyond meeting others during table discussions. In fact, more than once outside of the forums, we've heard colleagues talking about the forums and topics that have been or will be covered in the forums. Angie, Lindsay, Jean, and Leah promote a multidisciplinary approach to public health, and besides each being respected and holding high professional integrity in their own public health area, they bring in others from different backgrounds to build upon their own knowledge base. This is infectious and encourages others to break down silos and collaborate to better the state of health in Minnesota. This group of MPHA members continue to provide an exceptional, innovative, and interactive venue where uncommon collaborations can take hold, where attendees can network, and where silos can be broken down to achieve results. The Policy Forum series has increased the visibility of MPHA. It's brought new and young professionals in and provided an opportunity for them to network with older, experienced public health professionals. And the bottom line, another thing that they've done is increase revenue from greater attendance at the policy forums, increase membership in MPHA, and increase revenue from sponsorships. So the Minnesota Public Health Association is pleased to recognize the MPHA Policy Forum Planning Team's commitment for improving health of the public with this award. And I believe Angie was going to speak for the group.
Yes, that's correct, Kathy. Thank you very much for that introduction. And thank you, Shirley and Ann, for the work you guys do in organizing this event. I have been given the honor to accept this award on behalf of the MPHA Forum Committee tonight. And I want to thank first you, Leah, Lindsay, and Jean for that honor and for being such incredible committee members. You are always there, always willing, and always ready. There is a planning meeting over the summer, planning meetings before each forum, all of the work in preparing for them, and then showing up an hour or more. And in the wintertime, that's well before dawn, before each one to set up and be ready for the event. You bring your experiences and your connections to every planning meeting so that working together as a team, we can brainstorm the theme, the topics, and the panelists for the 4 forums every year. I want to digress just a minute though, because there was one year when we went a little wild and we actually tried 5 forums. I actually don't know what we were thinking when we did that, because we quickly returned to 4 a year. When I received the news that we were being honored with the Albert Justus Chesley Award, I thought back to our very first efforts a long time ago now. It really was just the germ of an idea in conversations with Janie Brust in 2007. MPHA has been hosting breakfast forums ever since. Jan Malcolm was the president of MPHA, and Julie Brunner was the moderator of the very first forum in March of that year. And the rest, as they say, is history. We've been together, as Kathy mentioned, as a committee for the last 9 years moving forward. It has been an amazing journey. Today, the forums have become a model that other public health groups inquire about. How do we manage them? How do we find the topics? How do we get panelists to agree to participate? There is a single answer to all of those questions, and that is the wonderful public health community here in Minnesota. Through the forums, all of us have been fortunate in our efforts on behalf of MPHA. We have had the opportunity to identify a wide range of public health resources and meet a diverse group of folks dedicated to meeting the needs of our communities. They have been willing to share their time and expertise with our forum attendees for all these years. We thank them, and we thank every one of you who attend the forums, participate in them, sponsor them, and cheer us on. This year has presented all of us in the public health community with challenges, and we needed to postpone our plans. But there will be more forums, and there will be new topics to explore, and we will be meeting together again. Thank you for honoring us with the Albert Justus Chesley Award, and congratulations to all of the awardees tonight. We are honored to be among you. Thank you.
Thank you, Angie. And if the awardees could, hold up their awards if they've got them close by.
This is Lindsay.
Maybe we'll be able to get a snapshot down the line with them. So thank you so much. I just want to take this opportunity while we've got the slide up to both Jean and Leah have CHES after their names, and that stands for Certified Health Education Specialist. So also thank you for your work in public health education. I know I've attended quite a few policy forums and really got a lot out of them, and actually made additional contacts even for my work at hand. So again, thank you all so much. Okay, next, and our last awardee. The next award is for the Minnesota Public Health Association Student Achievement Award. This award is presented to a student enrolled in the master's degree program of the University of the School of Public Health or School of Nursing, and I think we've expanded it to other schools that have public health or offer public health as well. This person has demonstrated leadership skills in the contribution to the promotion of the health of individuals, families, and the community. And now I will ask Jacob Walker-Swaney, he's an epidemiologist at the Minnesota Department of Health, to make this award. So Jacob, you're on.
All right. Bonjour, Jacob Indigenakaj, Kamuzu Indonjaba, Borwadami Indao. Hello, everybody. My name is Jacob Walker-Swaney. I'm Potawatomi from Michigan, and I'm here today to introduce a good friend of mine that I have met in my journey with her through academia and serving as her mentor. And today I'm introducing Winnie Lindstrom to give you a snapshot of this public health rock star. She is a former Gates Millennium Scholar. This scholarship is a very prestigious program established to provide outstanding African American, American Indian, Alaska Native, Asian Pacific Islander Americans, and Hispanic students with an opportunity to complete a college degree. She completed her bachelor's at the University of Minnesota, spending a semester abroad at the National University of Ireland, Galloway, and her master's of public health in the University of Hawaii at Moana. Currently, she is a PhD candidate in epidemiology at the University of Minnesota Twin Cities. In addition to her research, she is also a student intern for the Interdisciplinary Research Leaders Group at the University of Minnesota. She had been a student worker in the evaluation unit for the Office of Statewide Health Improvement Initiatives, aka OSHI, at Minnesota Department of Health for 3 years. Winnie is a rising leader in the world of public health. During her time at MDH, she helped us in the evaluation unit conduct a meta-evaluation of over 20 evaluation reports for 2 of MDH's tribal grants programs, the Tribal Statewide Health Improvement Partnership, otherwise known as SHIP, and the Tribal Commercial Tobacco Cessation Program. Winnie, along with her evaluation mentor, identified common themes amongst the 20 evaluation reports and determined whether or not these themes met the goals of their respective programs. In addition, she worked one-on-one with our tribal grants coordinators out in the communities to help create storyboards of success that incorporated not only data from the evaluation reports, but also captured data and stories that the reports may have missed otherwise. Just incredible work being done in a very, very short time period. This all was done in a short time period of like 3 months. So very impressive, and I was amazed to see her work. And so, like I said, this was a massive undertaking, and her leadership was pivotal in completing the work in that limited time span. In addition to this, we noticed that she demonstrated essential and professional communication skills. Oftentimes when we met with a TA provider for this work, sometimes those meetings were contentious, but Winnie has a very professional and tact way of approaching meetings and was able to lead several of those meetings in her own right, and was able to help push the meetings along in a productive way. And lastly, Winnie has helped the MDH evaluation staff with the preliminary design of the evaluation requirements for the new Tribal Grants Program grant cycle. And her insight is, it's just extremely valuable to us, because Winnie is an enrolled tribal member of the White Earth Nation. And so to have a tribal member in those conversations up front is so pivotal. And not alone as being a tribal member, she's also a Master's of Public Health and a public health superstar. So to have her there telling us, no, this won't work, or laugh, you know, it was very, very valuable to us. And so with that, you know, it really helps ensure that MDH adheres to respecting and honoring tribal sovereignty. So with that, Winnie, you have the floor.
Hello? Okay. Well, thank you so much for that introduction. Buju Badasige Dinakaz Magazine Dodem Gawababi Gani Kagan Donjuba. As Jacob said, my name is Winnie. I'll start by saying it's such an honor to receive this award, and especially to be awarded alongside such inspirational people. And to be honest, when I was told that I would be having some time to speak today, I really didn't know what I should say. And so I thought I could just talk a little bit more about myself and how I got here. As Jacob said, I grew up on the White Earth Reservation. And like most reservations, we experience a lot of socioeconomic and health inequities. And when you grow up like this, it's easy to become these kinds of issues. And even though it is normalized for people to have diabetes or to know somebody who has substance abuse, have a relative who is missing or was murdered, we are resilient and we do push forward. And like Coco said, we are doing this for our ancestors and also to leave a better world behind for our descendants. I've been lucky enough to have a lot of jobs and experiences that have pushed me forward in the field of public health, including working for the Minnesota Department of Health. It was one of the best experiences I've had, and I wouldn't change those 3 years for anything. It really gave me the confidence to work in this kind of realm, and especially from the evaluation unit and Ann Zukowski for lifting me up and trusting me as a student to work there as a full employee and giving me responsibilities was great, and really gave me an idea of what it's like to be boots on the ground. And like I said, I wouldn't change it for the world. Working at MDH solidified my academic and career goals to become an epidemiologist. And in this next year, I'm hoping to finish my PhD and continue working. And that's about all I can say for myself. I would lastly like to thank for using his voice to nominate me and for saying all those nice things. And also to Anne for being a mentor and becoming a great friend. And I'd also want to thank MPH for the land acknowledgement that you guys started the meeting with, and do my little photo op with my award. Thank you all.
Okay, well, I think you went on mute, Winnie. So again, thank you so much. We really appreciate you letting us know your journey, and I'm glad you've had lots of support and doing wonderful things. Oh, I'm sure you're going to do wonderful things out there. I also want to thank everybody. We went over a little bit on time, so thank you for those who stayed on with us. And on behalf of the Minnesota Public Health Association, I'd like to just thank all of our awardees for their exceptional work and commitment to public health. And thank you for those who nominated our awardees for lifting up their work so that we could hear about it. So this concludes the 2020 MPHA Awards ceremony, and I don't know if Nancy or Mary wanted to say a final word.
I would like to thank everyone who attended. Thank you so much for the awards, and just grateful to all of you for making MPHA what it is, which is just a fantastic organization. And as I've been telling everyone all year, being president of MPHA is a job that I think you should all go for. I highly recommend it. No, but I encourage everyone, if you want to do more, please get more involved. We'd love to have you. And welcome to Kathy Norleen, our president of MPHA. Yay. Mary, did you have anything you wanted to say, or Kathy, or anyone before we sign off?
I'm good. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, good. Well, thanks everybody again, and have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate your leadership.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.